No, 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 no. You stay here, I need you. Okay. Oh, there's a dent in my door. Oh no, shit. The plan is to turn this beautiful old building into our dream home. And right now we are in the process of unpacking and sorting everything because we just moved here a couple of weeks ago and we are preparing for the big renovation to start. And what we need right now is a clever storage solution for all of the things that we need. And I'm specifically talking about little things like batteries, light bulbs, and God knows what else. So we are going to transform a cupboard that we have in a tiny entryway. And by the way, the entryway is almost as big as the cupboard itself into something useful. Now I do want to hang a door into the door opening that we have into the cupboard because the door that was there was really ugly, so we decided to get rid of it. Now I am definitely one of those people who has a habit of shoving things into a cupboard on days when I'm feeling tired. So I'm also definitely one of those people who is in desperate need of a door. Now I also do have the dream of owning a cupboard that just looks beautiful and tidy all year round. So I am definitely going to try to create something that makes it really easy to do that. Is it realistic to think that I am going to be able to have a cupboard like this all year round though? No. So that's why we need the door. And by the way, the plan is to add a curtain to the back of the door over here on the top part, and then the lower part is going to be turned into something that is solid. So that means that we need to change out the glass for a piece of plywood. And I've actually tried to take the glass out by carefully removing all of the putty, but it's still cracked in two different places. So right now there's no point in trying to get it out in one piece, and taking the putty out just takes so much time. So I've just made the decision that we are just going to smash the window. And when do we ever get to do something destructive? Well, right now. Are we scared? No, we are excited. Now the plan for this door is to paint it in a color that first of all needs to look typical Swedish, because I do want to experiment with creating spaces in the typical old-fashioned Swedish countryside look. And there are just a couple of colors that I'm really interested in because I want to experiment with these colors. And these, by the way, are colors that I never tried before. I don't really know what kind of a color I want to paint the door in though, because I first need to paint the floor and the trim around the doors. And I have actually picked out a color for the floor that I'm really excited about. And this is also because it is a warm color, and I don't believe that I ever painted anything in a warm color before, which is weird. But I guess that there's a first for everything. And the same for me painting all kinds of things in colors that I've never used before. Now this is going to take me a while. So let's just turn on some music, and then after that I will be back because there's something that I want to share. And it is something that I want to read to you. And it is just one sentence from a poem that Rogier sent to me a couple of years ago. And this entire poem is made up out of questions, actually. And there's one question in particular that has been jumping out to me ever since the first time I read the poem. Maybe I need to read it to you, the entire poem, I mean. Although that would be a lot, because some of these questions could potentially be questions that take a lifetime to find an answer to. For me, answering this question, and especially coming to peace with it, because this was actually more difficult than finding the answer, has taken me a couple of years.
gonna keep you when storms are coming. I will always. And who's gonna teach me how to listen? And who's gonna love me without a reason? Will you always? Through all the trouble and all the worry, time's gonna bring our way. With all the beauty, through all the heartache, will we always? And who's gonna kiss the tears you're crying? And who's gonna love you while they're dying? I will always, oh, I will always.
Okay, so this is something that I found somewhere in a corner and it is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Oh, yes, it is perfect. Okay, it is just, in my opinion, not healthy for women to take measurements. But we need to take the measurements because we don't have a choice, and that also means assuming 2.5, that this door is straight, which is a really stupid thing to do. Oh, and by the way, the entire corner that you see over here behind me is still going to need another coat of paint. And the things that you just saw me paint were just some of the little things that needed to happen first. So the only little area that is completely done is the little part of the wall underneath the window. And all of the other things are going to need to be painted again. Oh, shit. We don't have electricity over here on this side of the classroom anymore. So we need to fix the electricity too. Oh Lord, would you buy me a really sexy electrician? Now we have actually met a really sexy plumber. But we aren't ready for the plumbing yet. And by the way, we are perfectly capable of doing all of those things ourselves. So we aren't going to hire any of the sexy men, unfortunately, for you. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's like 5 centimeters. That's way too much. Okay. We are just going to see if it fits. Oh my God, it's a miracle. Okay, so now we are going to glue it. And this obviously needs to stay put somehow. And I should have thought about how I want to do that first, but I didn't. Oh no, because we don't have a plan. Oh Lord, would you buy me a sensible mind and some wood clamps, because mine are missing. Please help. Ik heb kleine houtklemmetjes nodig om het plaatje even erin te klemmen. Ik was niet zo goed voorbereid.
Ik zal even van die krammetjes pakken.
Ja, doe vooral rustig aan. Okay, so I've decided to put on a coat because it's freezing in here. And with freezing I actually mean that it is freezing in here. The door frame is doing this in the middle. So now we are going to try to move it that way, so that we don't have to adjust the door. Oh, dan gaat hij weer daar naar binnen, de muur. Oh, dat is echt zo scary als je het hele muurtje voelt bewegen. Oh! Oké. Oh! Just that you know that I just saved your life.
Oh, I will be
Forever-
eternally grateful.
forever grateful. And always sweet from now on moving forward. Huh? Oh, I'm going to spray paint it. The handle, I mean. With a spray paint that is going to make it look like it is rusting. Or rusty, actually. Wat is dat nou?
Daar is een schroefje.
Oh, waar komt het nou vandaan?
Een liedje van.
Oh ja. Dit gaat wel werken.
Ja, toch?
Mooi. Okay, so the colors that I want to change are the color on the floor and the color that you see over there around the door. The green color, I mean. And then we also need to remove the paint from the door over there, because we did that with the door over here. But I never got around to doing the other one. I have a little confession to make, because right now I don't know how to finish this video, because I lost 2 entire days to my chronic illness this week, and there's no way to get all of the missed hours back. And the old me would have pushed myself to the limit, and probably also beyond certain boundaries, to be able to finish all of the things that I planned for. But the new me wants to learn how to do things in a different way. Now, the old me was always focused on achieving a lot in a very short amount of time, because this was the only way for me to feel worthy enough. The new me, though, does not believe in this anymore, because the new me has learned that it is not about how much I can finish, but about who I am when I'm working on all of these things. So that means that if my work creates a lot of stress, the work and the way of me doing the work needs to change. And this is also because I can't snap my fingers and change the circumstances that I'm in right now when it comes to my chronic illness, even though I would love to do that. And I'm working on it. So that means that I do think that it is going to improve. And with this, I mean that my well-being is going to improve. And with this, also my chronic illness. But I can't snap my fingers and just create this right now. So I was planning to film all kinds of things, like showing you the little room that we have upstairs in the attic, because we are turning it into a guest room and I want to show you how it looks right now. I was also planning to film a thrift haul, and the plan was to show you all of the things that we bought at IKEA for the cupboard. I was also planning to show you the progress that I've managed to make on the inside of the cupboard, and I was planning to hang the door, and I was planning to finish the primer, painting the primer on the door. Now the door is actually in, which is something that Rogier has done, thankfully. I haven't found the time to film the end result though, so this is something that I need to postpone until the next video, and this is really difficult for me to do. And this is also because of something that I want to talk about, and it is the poem that I promised to read to you. And this one sentence that I talked about, you guys, it is still jumping out to me. And I'm just going to read it to you, the poem I mean, and then I will tell you what the sentence is, and then you will probably understand what I'm trying to say, and also how it is linked to what is happening right now. And I've had situations in the past that were a lot more serious, wherein I needed to find an answer to the question that I do now have. So none of this is all that complicated if you compare it to how it has been in the past, but it's still a little something to be mindful of. The part of the poem that I'm talking about, I mean. So I don't think that I'm done with it quite yet. Anyway, let me just read it to you. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, and for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it is not pretty, every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you have lived or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. And this is a really important one that actually jumped out to me when I was reading this a couple of days ago. So that's interesting. It doesn't interest me where or what, with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Now, besides the sentence that I just mentioned, there's another one, and this was the sentence that I was talking about earlier in this video. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. And this was a question that I had to find an answer to when I lost my home in Amsterdam. And if I would have to describe what happened there in one single sentence, it would be this. Because there were things happening that I could not allow. Because allowing these things to continue would have meant betraying my own soul. And I decided not to do that. And this meant that there was a really difficult decision that I had to make, because it meant that I had to tell my son and my daughter-in-law and the parents of my grandchild to leave my home, even though they had nowhere to go. And there were obviously reasons behind that. And there was also a very long period of time wherein I gave them the opportunity to do the right thing. So this wasn't just something that I decided to do. There was a lot more to it. And I do actually think that I want to retell the story about what happened in those days, because when I shared the story the first time, I told it from the perspective of someone who had a broken heart, and it was also told from an emotional perspective. And right now I think I want to film it again because I want to share the story from a more spiritual perspective. And there's a lot more to the story than what I'm talking about right now, but this is definitely a really important part of it. And in those days, I needed to figure out the answer to the question. And my answer to the question is yes, I am willing to do that. And I have done that. And it was probably one of the most difficult things that I've done in my life. And what is happening right now is the exact same thing, but just the easier and simpler and less difficult version of it. Because right now, not finishing the projects that I was working on, to me feels like a disappointment. To me, it feels like I'm disappointing you guys, because the video that I'm uploading is not all that interesting, because nothing is finished, nothing looks beautiful. But the reality is that this is my life, and this is also one of the reasons why I have decided to change the name of my YouTube channel, because right now it is saying My Life in the North, and this is what my life looks like. I have struggled this week, and right now I'm still sitting on top of the radiator, because even though I've managed to paint the little wall underneath the window, I haven't managed to paint the baseboard, so I can't put the radiator back. And this is just the way it is. And I need to be at peace with that, because I can't continue the way of doing the work like I have been doing it up until now. Now, every ounce of my soul just wants to dive into all of these projects, because I feel so excited about all of the spaces that I'm working on. And it is really frustrating to be held back by a body that is just refusing to do it. And I have to come to peace with that right now too, because this means that I need to acknowledge the fact that I'm sick. And there is actually another sentence in the poem that has jumped out to me too, and it is, I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just trying to sit here with all that I have, and with all of my unfinished projects, and with all of the sadness about all of the years that I've lost to my chronic illness. And, it has taken a lot from me, the illness that I have. And I'm not just talking about time. I am talking about dreams, friendships, jobs that I could have had, school that I never finished. So this is it. This is me, with a tired face. I'm frustrated. I feel restless because I want to do all of these things and I can't. And it is hard. It is hard. But I'm sitting here and I'm feeling it. And I think that I'm actually doing quite well.